Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 353. Today we're going to talk about Isle of Trains. This is a 2 to 4 player card game from designer Seth Jaffe, who did Eminent Domain, and Dan Keltner, who was co-designer on Bomb Squad. Now this is published by Dice Hate Me Games in a line called the Rabbit Line. And this is one of 6, I think. I've got 6 here, so there may be more actually. And it very much reminds me of a San Juan Race for the Galaxy kind of thing, where you're playing cards in front of you and you're using cards to pay for other cards. Now the Rabbit line of games stems from a 54 card game challenge that Dice Hate Me ran about a year ago and then kickstarted. They're small box games, 54 cards or less, and the playing time is going to be pretty short. We can play this game in about 45 minutes, give or take. And as you can see, it's kind of a train theme. There's 2 types of cards in the game. You've got a deck of cards, which will be different parts of a train. There'll be engines, caboose, box cars, and so on. And then you have a map that you're going to set up. And these are 6 cards, and the map's not really the important part. These are actually contract cards. And these are going to be the main way, or one of the ways at least, that the players are going to score points in the game by filling these contracts. Now these cards are actually double-sided. On this side you can see this one will cost 2 pallets of wood to fulfill, and it'll be worth 7 points. But once you fill this contract, you'll take it, and then you'll have available to you 2 other possible contracts. You can see here there's 2 possibilities, one that'll give you another 14 points and another one that'll give you another 10 points. So if we flip the card over, you can see the requirement there. So the 17 point side will take a coal, some oil, and 2 pallets of wood. You'll flip it over and you'll score this. So everybody starts the game with a level 1 engine. You can see this is worth 0 points. And the thing to note about the engines is it shows you the weight. So we can have up to 4 weight of cards behind this. I'll explain that more in a second. Everybody's also going to get a hand of 5 cards, and you have a 5 card hand limit at the end of your turn. So you have to discard down to 5. So players can get 2 actions on their turn, and let's talk about what the different actions are that they can do. Now the first action that you can do is actually just draw a card off the top of the deck. Simply draw a card, put it in your hand. Now the next thing you can do is actually build a card and attach it to your train. The cost for the card is depicted here, so it's going to cost you 3 cards. You have to discard those cards, and then you go ahead and attach that caboose, in this case, to the engine. And then you take the cards you used to pay for the caboose, discard it into a separate discard pile face down. In addition to other train cards, you've got caboose and you've got buildings, and these are sort of special abilities or end-game bonuses that you can see. For example, you get +1 card, or you can draw a card when you load coal. You get 2 points for coal on contracts. This one actually increases the holding capacity of the train itself. Now you can only ever have 1 caboose and 1 building. If you want to change out buildings, you've got to discard the building and then pay for a new building and build that. Now the caboose, on the other hand, you can actually upgrade. And all the rest of the cars, the box cars, even the engine itself, you can actually upgrade or attach those as long as you have enough weight capacity on your engine. So speaking of weight capacity, we can see this particular caboose counts as 2 weight. And next we can see what we're going to be doing mostly is building train cars. Here's a box car, and you can see a couple of things about it. It costs 3, you can see that in the lower left. It's worth 2 points, and it also has a load ability at the top. And what this is telling us is that we can load 1 pallet of wood into here, and if somebody else loads it into our train, they're going to be able to draw 4 cards. So let's build this and attach this to our train, and now either us or other players can take the load action, which is the next action. So when you take a load action, you actually take one of the cards in your hand. So you can see the cards provide different types of goods that you can actually load. So this card, if we turn it sideways, you can see loads a pallet of wood. And if we stick that into this box car, we can see we have a limit of 1. So now this is full. And if we had done this on somebody else's train, we can draw 4 cards. If you load your own, you don't get any benefit from doing that. Now you still might want to load goods into your own cars, and I'll explain that more when we go to the delivery action. But let's talk about upgrading cars now. So when you upgrade a car, it has to be of the same type. We can see here is a box car. And if we want to upgrade that, we've got to put another type of box car. You can see this is an R3D box car. This actually costs 9, but we only have to pay 6 because the previous box car was worth 3, and so you only pay the difference. The next action you can do is the delivery action. Now let's say we had these 2 goods loaded into our train somewhere. So we've got a pallet of wood, and then we've got a wild. This can be any of these different types. So there's a couple of different ways you can do the delivery action. The first way is to just take 1 card that you've got loaded onto your train, discard it to the discard pile, and then you can draw 2 cards. So if you don't have any contracts or anything that you can see that you can fill, but you want to kind of get some more cards, you just throw away that card and you get 2. The next thing you're going to want to do is fill these contracts. So we can go back to the contract we looked at before. This requires 2 pallets of wood. Then we can take this, we can put this in front of us, and we'll have scored 7 points at the end of the game. Now, once you take one contract from that center map, you cannot take another one until you upgrade and do the reverse, one of the 2 contracts shown on there, and then stick that under your train. So if we go back to this contract, if a little bit later on a future turn, we had 1 coal, 1 oil, and 2 pallets of wood, we can take and upgrade that. Now we're scoring 17 points for this contract. And we go ahead and tuck that under our engine, showing that we've scored those points, and now we can go ahead and acquire a new contract from the main map. And so you're gonna play the game based on the number of players until a certain number of contracts are taken from the central map. So I think in 3 players, it's once 5 contracts are taken, everybody else is gonna get 1 more turn, including the person that took that last contract. And so you might be prepared to, score another contract, or you can build more cards, because again, the engine cards and the engines themselves and different train cards are worth a lot of points. So what I think of the game, I think it's fantastic. Like I kind of subtitles in the beginning of the video, it's micro kind of Race for the Galaxy. It reminds me of San Juan Race for the Galaxy. Like I said, you pay for cards with other cards. But the cool thing that's very interesting is the whole like loading other people's trains. Well, you want to load their trains so you can get like, 4 cards or draw 3 and discard. Sometimes they'll give you extra actions. So you want to do that so you can build up a big hand of cards to spend and put out a really cool upgrade or something, but you're also giving them the card to then deliver. And so the interesting part about that is because of that 5 card hand limit, you want to build up to a big hand of cards and then spend it, because you got the 2 actions going back and forth. There's no way to kind of persist and have a big hand. But you want to build sort of enticing engines for people to load your train with, so you've got goods that you want to deliver to get contracts out of, and that's how you score points mostly. So it's very interesting. It plays very quick, and there's a lot of cool, interesting dynamics. You got some different, bonus point cards, and points for certain things at the end of the game, and different special abilities from the caboose. So one of the cabooses that lets you pay 1 less for train cards. That's a pretty good one. So it's quite enjoyable, and it's a quick little compact micro game, and like I said, it takes about 45 minutes to play. I don't really need 4 players, and if you ask me pin me down about a player count, I like 2 and 3 perfectly fine. 4 players can go long, but as we've started to play this, we played this over the last week at lunch, and we've gotten used to it, so it doesn't take that long. The first time we played it with 4, it was like, it was kind of sloggy, but I think people were just kind of getting used to the pace and kind of learning the game. But after you kind of know the game, it plays really quickly. So I definitely recommend this game. So take a look at it. Thanks.